Do you feel like it's your way or the highway all the time? That's probably because you want to have absolute control over everything. And this is survival strategy number two. So I was stuck in this survival mode strategy for so long, I didn't even know it. I wanted to control everyone and everything with no questions asked. And it wasn't until I was doing the work that someone brought to my attention that I cannot control everything. I cannot control the experience that my husband has with my daughters. I cannot control my daughters absolutely, because there are only some things that are actually within my control. Everything else is within my influence, under my influence. So when I was before I was in the thick of the journey and had very little self-awareness, I tried to micromanage my husband and my kids. Like I was the puppeteer and I was the one orchestrating the show. And then it got even worse when I was early on in the thick of the journey, because I did not want my children to have traumatic experiences in their childhood. So I thought, if I can control what my husband says to them, how he interacts with them, what I say, how I interact with them, what other people say, and how other people interact with them, then it will keep them safe and they will not be traumatized by us or by others. And that is so unrealistic, because first of all, my children's experience wasn't my experience growing up. They're here to have their own human experience. So what I can do is I can try to minimize any hardships, any traumatic events that they might experience, but I don't have absolute control over that. And so I thought that if I controlled how my husband interacted with them, what he said, what he did, what he demonstrated in front of them, towards me, towards himself, then that would automatically, no matter what, 100% control the situation and they would not be traumatized. That's not real. That is not how it works. And so actually I was doing more trauma to him by trying to control everything, and probably to my kids without realizing it, because I just wanted to keep everyone safe. I did not want there to be any chance that something could go wrong, that someone would be upset, that feelings would be hurt, that there would be tears, or I just wanted everything to be happy and smooth sailing, bump free, obstacle free, challenge free, 24/7, 365. And that is not real life, because if we are not feeling emotions and having experiences where feathers are going to get ruffled, things aren't going someone's way, there are disagreements, then that is not real life. That is keeping people in a bubble and keeping them suppressed. And that in itself is traumatic. I also try to micromanage my girls with their school projects. And so when Lily was in preschool, I wanted to do the family projects my way, and I wanted her to be on board with that. I did not want her to question how we were going to decorate the construction paper pumpkin, or the paper cutout of a scarecrow, or the wreath at Christmas, or the heart of Valentine's Day. I thought, you know what? This is the vision that I see. You're just going to do it, and that's going to be the way that it is. I should have known better, because Lily is like me. She has a strong personality and she does not follow what the status quo says she should do willingly. So she had her own agenda. And then we were butting heads and arguing with each other. And that was stressful. There were tears. Then I would say, fine, I'm not helping you because you're not listening. I'll be in the kitchen if you need me. You're on your own, which is also not healthy or supportive. And this was all my own doing. And I see this time and time again, because we're so afraid of not having control, because that feels unsafe. That feels unpredictable. We might be blindsided by unpredictability, and we might not know how to react or cope in the moment. So we would rather not have any chances of being blindsided, feeling unprepared, having anything questioned or challenged. We want to know that we have everything under control, and that no matter what, we are going to be able to face what comes our way. And so when we have this absolute control over everything, it calms our anxiety and it makes life feel less scary. So we've had this heightened state most of our lives with with trauma. So it's either this constant state of worry, this feeling of anxiety of not knowing what's coming next, or these, this constant feeling of anger and sadness. And that also doesn't feel great. And so we don't want those feelings ever, 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 ever again. And so we will do whatever we can to prevent that from happening. And that means we need control. We need control over everything. And so when I was in the abusive relationship in high school with my high school boyfriend, I could not leave him. We had to be together 24/7, 365. I literally would wake up and I would drive to his house in my pajamas, and then I would sit on the edge of his bed and wait for him to wake up. And he would always say, "Wake me up, wake me up, wake me up." And then that would turn into a fight because he didn't want to wake up. And so I would just have to sit and wait and sit and wait and sit and wait and sit and wait. And that was absolute control over me and my time, because he was so worried that if I wasn't with him, then I would meet someone else, he would miss out on something, he wouldn't be there to protect me from whatever perceived threat he felt there could be. And so he did not like me being without him, because that was his way of maintaining control over me in our relationship, that there would be no chance that he would be blindsided, that one day I would come to him and say, "Hey, I don't want to be with you anymore. I'm leaving you." And that was his worst nightmare come true. It happened. It only took 5.5 years, but it happened. And so he wanted to be prepared for everything. And just the same way that I wanted to have that same feeling of preparedness and security by trying to micromanage things within my household, mostly because I didn't want my girls to be traumatized or have traumatic experiences like I did, because I didn't want them to have to grow up and become adults and have to do the amount of inner work that I had to do. So I was trying to break this cycle, but I was doing it in a way that was actually contributing to more trauma and more dysfunction without realizing it. So there are only some things that we can control, and everything else is within our influence. So the things that we can control are what we say, think, feel, and do. Outside of that, it's under our influence. So we cannot actually control someone unless we start using tactics like manipulation, intimidation, things like that. And that is not healthy. We do not want to be the person who is a manipulator or an intimidator to get the control that we're so desperately seeking. We would rather use influence in a way that is not detrimental to the other person or the situation that we're in. So step out of survival mode number 2. Let go of the control, the need to control everything, because you can be prepared without control. You can make a game plan, whether you just have it in your mind that says, okay, if this happens, then I can do A, B, or C. Scenario 2 happens, I can do A, B, or C. Scenario 3 happens. So you can think ahead for how you want to handle things that might feel challenging or unpredictable or scary, or maybe like you've been a little bit blindsided, and have that prepared feeling that way, rather than trying to control others and causing them discomfort, causing them feelings of anxiety, causing them feelings of worry. It's just so that you can feel the opposite. So step out of survival mode, step into being present, step into letting other people have autonomy and giving yourself space to have autonomy. It will create a much healthier dynamic with those around you and the things that you're experiencing. So thanks so much for tuning into this video. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you found my channel. My content really is geared for helping people who are on their journey to let go of their childhood trauma so that they can move forward with more power, more confidence, and more ease, and not stay stuck in the patterns of the past. But remember, after you subscribe, like, and comment, be sure to take time for yourself, because this journey is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And I'll see you on the next video.